Ever felt so sure of winning, you forgot who gives the victory? Today, we're re-diving into a story from Islamic history that teaches a powerful lesson about this very thing. The Battle of Hunayn. This wasn't just a clash of armies. It was a profound test of faith. Just weeks after the peaceful conquest of Makkah, a new threat emerged. The powerful tribes of Hawazin and Thaqif, longtime rivals of the Quraysh, saw the rise of Islam as a direct danger to their way of life and their influence in the region. They couldn't stand by and watch. So they gathered their forces, a massive coalition determined to crush the nascent Muslim state before it grew any stronger. Their leader, Malik ibn Awf, was so confident that he ordered his men to bring their families, livestock, and all their wealth with them to the battlefield. His thinking. With everything they owned behind them, his soldiers would have no choice but to fight to the death. Word of this huge mobilization reached the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, in Makkah. He had to act. The Muslims mustered an army of 12,000 men. This was the largest army they had ever assembled. 10,000 were the veterans who had marched on Makkah, and they were joined by 2,000 new converts from the Quraysh, many of whom had fought against the Muslims just weeks before. Seeing this vast number, a wave of confidence, even a little arrogance, swept through some of the Muslim ranks. One person was heard saying, "We shall not be defeated today for lack of numbers." It was a seemingly innocent comment, but it hinted at a dangerous shift in mindset from relying on Allah to relying on their own strength. The Hawazin and Thaqif, led by the shrewd Malik ibn Awf, knew the terrain. They chose a narrow, winding valley called Hunayn for their battlefield. It was the perfect spot for an ambush. They hid their best archers and swordsmen on the steep slopes, waiting in the pre-dawn darkness for the Muslim army to arrive. As the Muslim vanguard, led by Khalid ibn al-Walid, entered the valley, the world erupted. A storm of arrows rained down from the cliffs above. The surprise was absolute, the chaos immediate. The front lines, caught completely off guard in the narrow pass, broke and fell back. The camels and horses, startled by the sudden attack and the shower of arrows, panicked and stampeded, crashing into the ranks behind them. A chain reaction of fear and confusion tore through the entire army. The very size of the Muslim force, which had been a source of pride, now became a liability, causing a massive, uncontrolled retreat. In the panic, the 12,000-strong army disintegrated. Men were fleeing in every direction, forgetting their commanders, forgetting their mission. In that moment of total disarray, when it seemed like a catastrophic defeat was certain, one figure stood firm. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, remained on his white mule, unmoving amidst the chaos. With him were only a handful of his closest companions, including his uncle Olibas, Abu Bakr, Umar, and Ali ibn Abi Talib. He was the calm in the storm, the anchor of faith in a sea of panic. The Prophet knew he had to rally his men. He turned to his uncle Olibas, who was known for his incredibly powerful voice. He commanded him, "O Abus, call out to the companions of the tree." This was a specific, powerful call. He wasn't just calling out to the army, he was calling out to the Ansar, the helpers from Medina, and the Muhajirin, the emigrants from Makkah, who had pledged their loyalty to him under a tree at Hudaybiyah. It was a reminder of their oath, their shared history, and their deep-seated faith. Al-Abbas's voice boomed through the valley. "O Ansar-u, companions of the tree." The effect was electric. The men who were fleeing heard that call, and it was like waking from a trance. Their hearts were stirred. They remembered their pledge, they remembered their prophet, and they remembered why they were there. One by one, then in groups, they stopped, turned around and charged back into the valley, their shame turning into fierce determination. Their shout was, "Here we are, at your service." They raced back towards the sound of the Prophet's voice, their faith reignited. This was the turning point. The small group of companions around the Prophet had been holding the line, fighting valiantly. Now, with the return of the army, the tide of the battle shifted dramatically. The Muslims, now fighting with renewed faith and courage, pushed back against the ambushers. The chaotic retreat transformed into an organized, ferocious counterattack. The Prophet himself picked up a handful of dust, threw it towards the enemy, and said, "May their faces be shahat o-waju," meaning may their faces be disfigured. And it was as if every enemy soldier got dust in his eyes, adding to their confusion. The Hawazin and Thaqif, who had been so sure of their victory just moments before, now found themselves overwhelmed. Their lines broke, and they began to flee, leaving behind everything their leader had forced them to bring. The battle was won. It was a decisive and complete victory for the Muslims, but it came after a terrifying, humbling test. The spoils of war were immense. The Muslims captured thousands of women and children, tens of thousands of camels, and a vast number of sheep, along with a huge amount of silver. The Prophet handled this situation with incredible wisdom and mercy. He waited for a delegation from the Hawazin to come, hoping they would accept Islam. When they eventually did, he gave them a choice, their families or their wealth. They chose their families, and the Prophet, leading by example, returned his share of the captives and encouraged his companions to do the same. Many did, and those who didn't were compensated from the state treasury. This act of generosity won the hearts of their former enemies. The lessons of Hunayn are profound and timeless. The Quran itself comments on this battle in Surah At-Tawbah, saying, "Allah has already given you victory in many regions, and on the day of Hunayn, when you were impressed by your great numbers, but they availed you naught, and the earth vast as it is was straitened for you, then you turned back in retreat." Then Allah sent down His tranquility upon His messenger and upon the believers, and sent down soldiers, angels, whom you did not see, and punished those who disbelieved. And that is the recompense of the disbelievers. This verse perfectly captures the core lesson. The initial overconfidence in their numbers led to a near disaster. It was a divine reminder that victory never comes from numbers, weapons, or strategy alone. Victory comes only from Allah. Reliance or tawakkul on God is paramount. The Muslims had to be stripped of their pride to be reminded of this fundamental truth. Their faith was tested, and through that test, it was purified and strengthened. The Battle of Hunayn teaches us to be humble in our strengths, to never let our achievements lead to arrogance. It reminds us that no matter how capable or prepared we think we are, our ultimate reliance must always be on a higher power. It's a story of how a moment of panic and near defeat was transformed, through faith and steadfast leadership, into a resounding victory and a lesson for all time. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey back in time. If you found this story as powerful as I do, please like, share, and subscribe for more lessons from history. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious and stay humble.